Good evening, everyone. Welcome to NTD Tonight. I'm David Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's top stories. 5 GOP candidates went head-to-head in the third primary debate. Each made their case on why they should be picked over Donald Trump. Trial begins for the Paul Pelosi attack case. The man accused of striking Pelosi made opening statements in court. Las Vegas avoids a hotel workers' strike. Unions and casino resorts reached a deal less than 24 hours before a strike was set to begin. First up, 5 Republican presidential hopefuls duked it out at the third GOP 2024 debate in Miami last night. Candidates made their case to GOP voters on why they should be nominated instead of former President Trump. Here's a recap of some highlights from the night.
2024 presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis called out former President Trump in his appeal for the GOP nomination.
He owes it to you to be on this stage and explain why he should get another chance. He should explain why he didn't have Mexico pay for the border wall. He should explain why he racked up so much debt. He should explain why he didn't drain the swamp. And he said Republicans were going to get tired of winning. Well, we saw last night, I'm sick of Republicans losing.
Frustration shared by 2024 hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy, taking aim at the RNC chair for a losing track record since 2018, and NBC, the host of the debate.
Do you think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, do you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Mr. Roberts.
This is how we get our country back.
Candidates were asked how, as president, they would respond to the Israel-Hamas war.
I would be telling Bibi, finish the job once and for all with these butchers, Hamas.
2024 contender Chris Christie says as president, he would prioritize intelligence to avoid further terrorist attacks.
Israel and their intelligence community failed. They failed here, and they failed the people of the state of Israel. And so we need to work closely and better together.
Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley says the issue needs to be addressed at its root. The former ambassador to the UN says terrorist groups like Hamas and Hezbollah are only a threat because of Iran and its allies.
And who is funding Iran right now? China is buying oil from Iran. Russia is getting drones and missiles from Iran, and there is an unholy alliance. We need to be clear-eyed. The last thing we need to do is to tell Israel what to do. The only thing we should be doing is supporting them and eliminating Hamas.
An assessment supported by Senator Tim Scott.
If you want to stop the 40-plus attacks on military personnel in the Middle East, you have to strike in Iran. If you want to make a difference, you cannot just continue to have strikes in Syria on warehouses. You actually have to cut off the head of the snake.
DeSantis and Haley at one point sparred over how to best deal with the Chinese regime and other foreign threats to the U.S.
We will go and end all formal trade relations with China until they stop murdering Americans from fentanyl, something Ron has yet to say that he's going to do. And then we modernize our military. When we strengthen our military, when we modernize it with the focus of cyber, artificial intelligence, and space, when we make sure that we have the backs of our friends, whether it's in Israel, whether it's in Ukraine, and we should be arming Taiwan.
In Florida, I banned China from buying land in this state, and we kicked out on our universities, and we kicked the Confucius Institutes out of our universities. We've recognized the threat, and we've acted swiftly and decisively.
Haley and Ramaswamy continued their grudge match over TikTok and China.
In the last debate, she made fun of me for actually joining TikTok while her own daughter was actually using the app for a long time. So you might want to take care of your family first.
Leave my daughter out of your voice.
Your adult daughter. The next generation of Americans are using it. And that's actually the point. You have her supporters propping her up. That's fine. Here's the truth.
You're just
the easy
scum.
answer is actually to say that we're just going to ban one app.
The fourth GOP primary debate is set for December 6 in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
And here are some other national headlines from today. Former President Trump countered last night's GOP debate with a rally on his own. Trump was in Hialeah, Florida, saying the Republican Party is wasting time by focusing on other candidates. Here are some clips from his speech.
And it's time for the Republican establishment to stop wasting time and resources trying to push weak and ineffective rhinos and never-Trumpers that nobody wants and nobody's going to vote for. The radical left, Democrat, communists are against voter ID. Therefore, open borders. How about that? Open borders where criminals come in from all over the world. 2024 is our final battle. Stand with me in the fight. We will finish the job that we started so brilliantly 7 years ago.
A surprising endorsement for Trump. The co-founder of a Black Lives Matter chapter in Rhode Island supports the former president. Mark Fisher says Trump is the best candidate among many running for president. The BLM activist says he is not the only one feeling this way in the Black Lives Matter movement. Also, a Republican mega donor is switching sides. Hotel entrepreneur Robert Bigelow is now supporting Trump over Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Senate Democrats are considering subpoenas in the ethics probe into the Supreme Court. The Senate Judiciary Committee is holding a hearing over the issue.
Leonard Leo and Harlan Crow are central players in the ethics challenge facing the court. Their baseless refusal to respond to the committee's valid inquiries prevent us from understanding the full scope of this issue. As chair of this committee, I cannot allow them to thwart congressional authority. For these reasons, I've asked the committee to authorize subpoenas with respect to Leonard Leo and Harlan Crow.
Billionaire Republican donor Harlan Crow is a friend of Justice Clarence Thomas and reportedly funded his luxury trips. Conservative legal activist Leonard Leo was instrumental in compiling former President Trump's list of potential Supreme Court nominees. Senator Dick Durbin, the committee's Democratic chairman, said subpoenas were necessary in light of Crow and Leo's refusal to voluntarily comply with previous requests for information. Democrats are expected to face resistance from the panel's Republican members. They have regarded the ethics probe as an attempt to tarnish the reputation of the Supreme Court. Detroit police have made an arrest in the stabbing of a synagogue president, Samantha Woe. Woe was found dead outside of her Michigan home last month. Authorities don't believe the crime was motivated by anti-Semitism and are treating it as a domestic dispute. Detroit police haven't identified the suspect and said details of the investigation will remain confidential at this time. The total number of bias incidents investigated by the NYPD Hate Crime Task Force increased by 124%. Cities around the country are dealing with anti-Semitic violence in the wake of the October 7th Hamas terror attacks on Israel. But crime overall was down again in October. The NYPD says New York City saw a drop in murders, burglaries, grand thefts, and shootings. For more details of these stories, please visit NTD.com. Jury selection for the Paul Pelosi attack trial has been completed. Opening statements were made this morning, officially beginning the hearing. NTD's Jason Blair brings us more.
Just over a year ago, police were called to the Pelosi residence in San Francisco regarding a break-in.
Hi, how you doing?
David DePop is accused of breaking into the house and attacking Paul Pelosi, Representative Nancy Pelosi's husband, with a hammer.
Drop the hammer.
The trial started Thursday morning in a San Francisco federal court. DePop faces federal charges of assault on an immediate family member of a federal official and attempted kidnapping of a federal officer or employee. He faces a max of 30 years for the first charge and 20 years for the second. DePop also has several state-level charges that will be tried in another court. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. Surveillance and police body cam footage were released in January that allegedly showed DePop attacking Pelosi and breaking into the house through a window. 2 days after the footage was released, DePop allegedly made a somewhat bizarre phone call to a KTVU San Francisco reporter. During the call, he seemingly alluded to a motive for his alleged actions. It is now being used as evidence in court. During opening statements, DePop's legal team hinted at possibly not trying to refute too much evidence, but focusing more on the why of his actions, therefore proving his innocence of the charges. Reporting in San Francisco, Jason Blair, NTD News.
Over to Nevada, where Las Vegas dodges a strike. Hotel workers threaten to shut down the Strip over pay and working conditions. Resorts now reach a new agreement with the unions.
The unions representing hospitality workers in Las Vegas on Thursday reached a tentative deal with MGM Resorts International for a new contract, less than 24 hours before a strike threatened to shut down the Strip. The Culinary Workers and Bartenders Union said that over 25,000 workers now have a new 5-year tentative agreement with MGM. It comes a day after its rival, Caesars Entertainment, reached a deal with 10,000 workers. In a statement, a spokesperson for the Culinary Union said, "After 7 months of negotiations, we are proud to say that this is the best contract and economic package we have ever won in our 88-year history." Unions across industries are pressing employers for better pay and benefits amid a shortage of workers. Casino resort operators have been earning record profits from a steady post-pandemic recovery in Las Vegas tourism. The MGM CEO said in a statement, "We're pleased to have reached a tentative agreement that averts a strike, gives our culinary union employees a well-earned boost to pay and benefits, and reduces workloads." The Las Vegas unions have the largest membership in Nevada, while MGM is the largest Las Vegas casino operator, followed by Caesars Entertainment. The agreement comes a week before the anticipated Formula One race on the Las Vegas Grand Prix 3.8-mile track.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come back. Police arrested a Colorado couple who operate a funeral home. The pair was accused of giving families fake ashes. Fast food chain In-N-Out soon to expand to New Mexico State. But in the country of Mexico, a knockoff shop made headlines. Veterans Day and the Marine Corps' birthday are coming up. We'll see how a California city honors the men and women who protect our country. Those stories and more coming up on NTD Tonight. Welcome back to NTD Tonight. I'm your host, David Zhang. Fake ashes from a Colorado funeral home. We looked at this case in October, and now police have arrested the owners. They were suspected of giving out cement powder instead of returning ashes of the deceased to loved ones.
A Colorado funeral home owner and his wife have been arrested after the decaying remains of at least 189 people were recently found at his facility. District Attorney Michael Allen said Wednesday that John and Carrie Halford were arrested in Wagner, Oklahoma on suspicion of 4 felonies: abuse of a corpse, theft, money laundering, and forgery.
I want to warn you, the information contained in that affidavit is absolutely shocking. All persons arrested and charged with crimes are presumed innocent, as I said earlier, until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And none of the facts contained in that probable cause affidavit should lead people to a different conclusion.
John Halford is currently jailed in Muskogee County, Oklahoma. John owns Return to Nature Funeral Home in Penrose, a town about 100 miles south of Denver. Authorities discovered the bodies at the funeral home building on October 4th after reports of a bad smell. Some allegations have emerged, including families accusing Return to Nature Funeral Home of giving them fake ashes instead of their relatives' cremains.
To date, we have positively identified 110 individuals. We have another 80 individuals that we are working on diligently to identify.
They have returned 25 to those people's families. One of the funeral home's customers is Christina Page, who was given a red urn with what should have been her 20-year-old son David's ashes.
So the Halfords have stolen a lot from my family. They've stolen a lot from all of us.
Page said her son has been rotting in the funeral home for 4 years. Investigators are in contact with 137 families. Allen asked for anyone who might have worked for or with the Halfords or who patronized their funeral homes to come forward. He also asked relatives of the yet unidentified dead to contact their late loved ones' dentists for records that might help the investigation.
Now over to Los Angeles, California. Hollywood street vendors gain approval for designated vending zones amid legal challenges. NTD's Stephanie Sakal reports.
A Los Angeles City Council committee approved a motion allowing designated vending zone in Hollywood, permitting street vendors in areas where they were previously banned. The motion was unanimously supported by the Civil Rights, Equity, Immigration, Aging, and Disability Committee. It calls for updating the city's street vending law based on input from a pilot program to create fair regulations citywide. Notably, the existing sidewalk vending ordinance excludes vendors from 9 areas, including popular locations like the Hollywood Walk of Fame and LA Live. In December 2022, 3 community groups filed a lawsuit alleging violations of state law regarding street vending.
I think it's awesome because it helps the economy. Food trucks attract many people from all over. That's why I think it's a good thing.
Council members expressed varying opinions on how to implement street vending and raised concerns about addressing state law violations, removing no vending zones, and ensuring public safety. The community groups welcomed the motion but noted its limitations in addressing vendors' hardships. The motion will move to the Public Works Committee for further discussion before reaching the full council for a vote after receiving unanimous approval from the committee. Stephanie Sakal, NTD News, California.
In more food-related news, In-N-Out Burger is expanding yet again to another state. NTD's Christina Corona has more from the burger stand.
We're here in Baldwin Park at the first ever In-N-Out Burger stand, which recently celebrated its 75th anniversary. In-N-Out announced that it plans to open multiple locations in New Mexico by 2027. In-N-Out's president and owner, Lindsay Snyder, shared on Instagram Tuesday, "We're excited to share that we will be fully in the Four Corners. We can't wait to have smiling associates serving customers quality burgers, fries, and shakes in such a unique, beautiful state." In-N-Out already has locations in Arizona, Utah, and Colorado, leaving New Mexico as the only remaining Four Corners state without one. And in an interesting twist, a Mexico-based restaurant made headlines recently for its similarities to In-N-Out Burger. The Sinaloa burger spot, formerly known as In-N-Out, has changed its name to SoFi's Burger, according to its Instagram account. The restaurant's Instagram page shows images of red trays with grilled burgers and fries smothered in special sauce, similar to food served at In-N-Out restaurants. But there are also images showcasing additional menu items not found at In-N-Out, such as chicken nuggets. It has not been confirmed if In-N-Out is pursuing legal action against the copycat restaurant. The new upcoming burger spot will be in Albuquerque, with additional plans for other New Mexico locations for years to come. Christina Corona, NTD News, Baldwin Park.
2 big events coming up, Veterans Day and the Marine Corps' birthday. In Northern California, first responders showed up in uniform, taking the time to recognize heroes ahead of Veterans Day. NTD's David Lamb reports.
Every year, first responders and locals take the time to honor those who defend the United States.
To me, it means there are hundreds of thousands that have sacrificed for this country, not just given their lives, but sacrificed their way of life with their families being behind them. And I believe that they fought for our freedom, and we need to keep them near and dear in our minds and in our hearts and make sure that they are properly recognized.
Sergeant Joseph Molina, a 6-year Marine, came to Daly City, located south of San Francisco, on Thursday to recognize the veterans who came before him.
Veterans Day is not just like a day where, for me to remember, but every day that I'm fortunate for the people that have sacrificed their lives for us to live a free world, and just to, just commemorate everything that they have done for our current situation right now.
This Friday is also the Marine Corps' 248th birthday. The Marine and city managers shared what they thought were the most important values America stands for.
I'd say honor, courage, and commitment. That's
freedom.
Sergeant Molina was previously stationed in Okinawa, Japan, providing postal support.
I was away from family, so it motivated me and inspired me to just keep working hard. And at the same time, making sure that every mail is delivered to the people that are stationed overseas, because we have families out there.
Veterans Day is recognized annually on November 11th.
Happy birthday to the Marine Corps and a special Veterans Day for all the veterans. And one reason why Daly City held their memorial today was because they wanted to give respect to all the other parades and ceremonies that will be happening over the weekend. In Daly City, California, David Lamb, NTD News.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on NTD Tonight every weekday at 9 p.m. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.